Hello and welcome to American Friction, the US politics podcast that hasn't found any money inside a packet of crisps recently. I'm the real McCoy, though. I'm Jacob Jarvis.
And I'm ready, and I'm salted. I'm Chris Jones.
And joining us is Nikki McCann Ramirez. Nikki, which flavour of crisps are you?
Probably salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
How come you associate with them?
I've always said that if I was to be a flavor,
She's
I would
always said
probably. What?
it. Always said it.
I've always said it.
said
No,
it.
I've been asked this question before. If I was to be a flavor, I would probably be like some sort of vinegar or like vinegar-based hot sauce.
Okay.
And I love salt and vinegar chips. I think, it fits. It suits me.
Nice. If I could choose to be a flavour, I'd like to be Takis. But I don't think I'm actually.
No,
You're
spicy
not
enough for
spicy
that.
enough. By
I'm
no
not spicy
means.
enough,
That's
no.
a brand. That's not flavour.
No, they're not a flavour, though, are they?
There
They're-
are different flavours of
Takis
Takis.
Takis are just tacky flavour. They're so proudly artificial. They're not based on anything in the real world.
I dunno.
In my opinion, they're magic. Anyway, right, on this show, we will explain why we're making crisp or chip, if you're in America, jokes, but
Or
obviously
wrong.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
But first, Trump likes Putin again because he was the last person he spoke to. Go figure. What's going on there? Plus, the Epstein files are back in the news. They're still there. Congress is getting some of them. Will they tell us anything new? And we're going to wrap up other stories you might have missed, answer listener questions, and do a crazy question from our resident psycho boy, Chris.
Now, Jarv wrote this bit. Welcome backity back. You're listening to American Friction.
Welcome backity back.
I hate that so much.
Before we get into it, an appeal. I'm doing this in my heartfelt voice. I do it every few weeks.
He's feeling his heart right
See if
now.
it works. I've got my hand on my chest.
Wrong side.
I'm saying the national anthem.
You're on the
some
wrong
kind.
side.
No, my heart's wonky. Anyway, we need your support to keep going. We love making the show. We love all of you. But it costs money in this capitalist hellscape that we live in to make a podcast. It's a hard time. So that's why we need you to back us on Patreon so we can keep on going. From £3 a month, you'll get the show ad-free, and other tiers will get you access to bonus content, big old bonus content, and merch. And it will keep the lights on in Nikki's office, which just went
turned
out.
off. They've just
come
turned
back.
off.
That's because we got a
It's like
Patreon
the
sign up.
motion detector, and I'm not moving.
No,
No, it's a
someone
Patreon
signed up to
detector.
Patreon. Yeah,
It's a
someone
Patreon
signed up,
detector.
and that meant we can put some money in the meter in Nikki's office. So if you decide, and then as well, if you decide to sign up for £5 a month or more, Nikki will get heating. But we can't assure that. But anyway, we also have a Patreon chat community where you can ask us questions and talk to each other, and it's all good. Yeah, it's just all good. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. Anyway, what are you waiting for? Follow the link in the show notes or go to patreon.com/American Friction. Sign up. Nikki's very cold right now, and she's not in the dark, but she might be soon. So patreon.com/American Friction to sign up. They have really bad labor laws in the United States, Help her out. Anyway, first, Nikki.
I'm in the mines.
Exactly, the content mines. Nikki, Trump has been embarrassing with Putin, I think it's fair to say. As an American patriot, do you feel embarrassed by his behavior?
I don't think this was embarrassing in any particularly special way. We've known throughout his first presidency, the interregnum, that he loves rolling out the red carpet for autocrats. He will kind of bow and scrape and make a show for them. And it really, you could just tell the difference in treatment that Putin got versus like the way he's treated Zelensky in the past, the European leaders who came to DC. And so, yeah, it's embarrassing, but I don't think it's anything outside of what Americans are used to at this point.
On that, how are Americans taking it? Because it just strikes me as there has been a long time where Russia were seen as the baddies by America, it feels like, in all sort of media and in politics generally. And the Republicans, from what I've known for a long while, have been not too nice about the Russians. And now it's very cozy. So how is it going down? Is there just enough cognitive dissonance among sort of MAGA world that they're fine with how Trump's behaving?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think that applies to pretty much any issue at this point. I honestly don't think stories about Russia and even stories about like the war between Russia and Ukraine have that much staying power in American news cycles anymore at this point. Obviously, there was a lot of chatter about Trump's summit with Putin. There was chatter about the meeting earlier this week. There was analysis and what will this produce and what do the Ukrainians want? What do the Russians want? And we're going to get a little more into Trump's sort of statements stemming from those meetings and how it feels like Putin is kind of dictating terms to Trump. But the reality is that like these are negotiations. Trump cannot unilaterally just say this war has ended. These are the terms. And as much as he likes to call himself a master negotiator, it's been years at this point. No one has been able to negotiate a true end to the war. And when you have someone like Trump who so clearly favors one side of the argument, one side of the equation, that equation being Russia, or at least seems like he's being guided by that side of the equation, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to eke out any sort of deal that Ukraine is willing to sign on to.
With the sort of threats that Trump is making still towards Russia, he's spoken about there not being American troops sent to Ukraine, but then he has spoken about providing air cover.
Yeah.
What is the concern level over him getting the US directly involved in war here, into actual combat involved?
I don't think that's actually going to happen. Trump is really trying to set himself up as a peacemaker.
Yeah.
The goal here is to end the war. If he were to say, we're sending American troops to Ukraine, like active fighters, I think there would be just a massive public revolt. But also, I don't think he actually has it in him. I don't think he will, especially when you have sort of the downstream network of Republicans, including Republicans in his cabinet, like Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, who are so just diametrically opposed to giving additional assistance to Ukraine, whether it be monetary, military, anything. I don't see it happening.
Just zooming out on that, and just a side note on it, is all of what Trump is doing because he wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize? Is that actually as much of an obsession as people are making out, do you think? Or has that been thrust upon him a little bit?
I think it kind of is. I think it really does bug him that Obama was given the Nobel Peace Prize and that he hasn't gotten it. He's at his core a narcissist. He believes in himself as a peacemaker, believes that he's out here claiming that he's ended something like 6 wars.
Yeah, he's making
in
up
this
war.
term. That is absolutely not true. I think he's probably counting bombing Iran 4 times in that equation as him ending a war. But so much of his public rhetoric about the media, other politicians, about the global community, about celebrities is him complaining about not getting recognition. He loves being praised. He loves being told that he's a good, strong boy and did it so well. And the thing is, Trump's entry into the political arena was largely centered around birtherism related to former President Barack Obama. And I think it does, and it has for years, something at his core is being gnawed at by the idea that Obama was recognized by the Nobel Committee and he hasn't been. And I don't think it's people thrusting it upon him. I think it's a very real thing for him.
Trump, if you're listening in to the podcast, which you might be occasionally, if you sign up to the top tier of our Patreon, me and Nikki will both call you a good, strong boy. And that offer spreads. I don't know, what will you do, Chris?
Everyone's.
Well, everyone's okay. You really ramped it up. I thought you were below us on that sort of, but fair enough.
I'm generous.
On people who need more recognition, then, for better or worse, Nikki, who's guiding Trump here? Is he listening to anyone, or is he just winging it?
I mean, it kind of feels like the person he's listening to the most is Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of shocking how well he's absorbed the Kremlin's talking points about, what parts of Ukraine belong to who. And it became really clear after the meeting. So for those of you who didn't watch the little meet and greet and everything, Trump and Putin in Alaska on a tarmac, they both come out of their planes. There's literally a red carpet that Trump walks down and then Putin walks down and they meet and they shake hands. And then Trump invited Putin to ride with him to the summit inside the presidential limousine, the Beast, which is a really rare honor, not typically granted to foreign dignitaries, American allies, much less, international criminals wanted by the ICC who are explicitly adversarial to the interests of the United States. Someone pointed out that, Putin is a former KGB member, and you're inviting him into this very secure space that is supposed to protect and isolate the president, and just inviting him in without real warning. Apparently Putin had a car set to take him to the summit. And you contrast that sort of treatment with the way Zelensky was received in the Oval Office a couple months ago, where he was basically berated and yelled at and called ungrateful. During this meeting with Zelensky and European leaders, including your prime minister, Trump apparently paused the meeting to call Putin at what was 1 a.m. Moscow time and talk to him for 40 minutes. Because he was like, oh, it would have been rude to do it in front of and apparently he left the room for almost an hour to take this phone call. Not even take this phone call, to make this phone call. But then he was like, oh, it would have been rude to talk to Putin in front of the EU leaders. It's like, nobody. What was rude was leaving the meeting to talk to the guy you just saw for almost an hour. And so I think it's really clear who's pushing Trump's buttons in these negotiations. And of course, I think the international community is incredibly skeptical. As much as they're willing to come to the table and try and find a resolution here, I think Europe is increasingly trying to take a role in the management of the situation. But, leave it to Trump to be buddy-buddy with the autocrat.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to call your bro.
I just think, fuck's sake, whoever is leading him is doing a fucking horrible job.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different ways that the Kremlin could call victory over what's happened. And it's not just the imagery, the contrasting imagery with how Zelensky was treated, with how Putin was treated, but also the fact that Putin has essentially gone to America and been treated like a king. Not only has it shown Trump to kind of bow down to him, and that can be reported in many ways that aren't true in Russia through the Kremlin. Exactly, very good. But also, it shows perhaps that Putin isn't the aggressor here. He's the one who's willing to travel to make peace. That's how the Kremlin can phrase this and show the world that actually it's Zelensky that's the problem. But also that could convince their own population who are, struggling to believe what the Kremlin, the lies that the Kremlin's putting out there already. So that it's basically just given Russia a massive photo opportunity to bleach itself from any blame.
The security thing is one thing I just find consistently baffling, because it reminds me of, when we were talking about the jet that he was gifted and how they were going to have to take that jet apart piece by piece.
Oh, it would have taken 2 years.
And then put the whole thing back together. And then, as Nikki says, but just former KGB agents who I do believe say, once KGB, always KGB, basically.
You would know, wouldn't you?
That's their thing. Duh. But it's just allowed in his car. It's just it's so fucking stupid. Anyway, mail-in ballots is another thing that's really stupid, Nikki. We know that Russia has tried to interfere in American elections before, and part of that has been by planting seeds of disinformation, misinformation. Those words confuse me, whichever one you want to use anyway. And they're planting that. And part of that is by trying to say the election process is corrupt and rigged and whatever else. Trump has just wholesale taken that from Putin and sort of laundered that Russian propaganda to his own ends, because Russian propaganda is good for his propaganda too, I guess. But it's fucking stupid, isn't it?
Yes and no. It is stupid. We need to clarify that Trump has been attacking mail-in ballots since the 2020 election. The primary reason for that being that mail-in and absentee voting tends to favor Democrats. It tends to favor Democratic turnout. And in the 2020 election cycle, of course, there was all these unfounded conspiracies about widespread fraud costing Trump the 2020 election. them attempting to discard mail-in ballots was a huge part of their reaction to that. But what ended up happening is that like Trump meets with Putin and then he goes on Fox News' Sean Hannity to talk to like do the debrief with the American propagandists about the meeting. And he tells Hannity that Putin was very clear and very insistent that mail-in ballots had cost Trump the 2020 election and that you couldn't have a democracy if you had mail-in ballots because that's where all the fraud was, and that Russia didn't have those ballots. Like, when was the last time Vladimir Putin was subjected to a free and fair election? Like, it's been decades. Man. What are we talking about here? But of course, days after that meeting, like a day or two after that interview, Trump posts on Truth Social that he's going to launch a concerted effort to eliminate mail-in ballots at a national level, which, to be clear, he absolutely cannot do. Constitutionally, the right to oversee elections, including voting mechanisms and voting methods, is directly in the hands of the states. Like, the president has zero authority over that, but he said he was going to sign an executive order. And then he also basically said that the state's job was actually to just do what the federal government tells them to, which is not the case. That's not the job. But yeah, I think we're looking at another example of Trump using the ass kissing of a dictator to reinforce his own authoritarian impulses and then move forward with a plan of action, even if that plan of action runs directly contrary to the Constitution.
The ass kissing of a dictator sounds like quite a good book title.
It does.
I quite like it.
Yeah, it'd be a good.
Let's write that.
Good film as well, I reckon.
Would it?
It'd convert really well from book to the big screen.
Watch, actually,
you what?
I don't know what films you want to watch. Okay.
Why?
The ass kissing of a dictator.
It sounds like a horror thriller to me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
/ satire.
Yeah, good. Okay.
So what's the Stalin one? The Death of Stalin?
The Death of Stalin,
It's a bit like that.
The ass-kissing of a dictator.
Same makers, same creators, same actors.
Nice. So what, it'd be Iannucci would do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. On another bullshit thing that Trump is doing, he's blaming Obama for stuff again, isn't he? He's just back on blaming Obama. What now? What has Obama done now?
Yeah, so... After the meeting with European leaders and Zelensky, Trump once again goes on Fox News, Fox and Friends this time, to talk about what had happened. And in this case, kind of starts repeating Kremlin talking points, claiming that the Obama administration had given Crimea, a peninsula that is part of Ukraine, to Russia. That it was like the worst real estate deal of all time, or one of the worst real estate deals of all time. That is absolutely not true. Russia invaded, occupied, and illegally annexed Crimea in 2014. It is not internationally recognized as part of Russia. It is internationally recognized as like an illegal occupation.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 3 years ago, Russia then once again unilaterally invades Ukraine and launches this war. But at another point in the interview, Trump is like, oh, yeah, well, Ukraine wanted Crimea back and they wanted NATO membership. And, you know, it's kind of stupid to take on a country that's 10 times your size, as if Ukraine had tried to invade Russia in order to recoup like Crimea. Anyway, he's created this fiction in his head that is at its core like Kremlin propaganda. It is Kremlin talking points. It is the Russian line of argument. It is very similar to, I don't know, we talked about this. It may have been one of the first conversations I had with you, Jarv, about the interview with Tucker Carlson and Putin.
Yeah.
Putin was just like spent like 45 minutes just talking at Tucker Carlson about like bullshit invented Russian history that like theoretically in Putin's mind justified why he should have the right to invade and take over Ukraine.
Yeah. Well,
and Tucker's just sitting there like, yes. Oh my God, that's so insane. Like,
well, it's like the whole, the language keeps being around that there would be land swaps or swaps of territory. And it's like, nothing's been swapped. Russia's just taking it from Ukraine. There isn't an exchange here. In any way. And I mean, yeah, also on the weird Russian history stuff, there's also the theory that it's not far-fetched to imagine that Putin believes that some Russian
propagandists believe that Alaska is still part of Russia and was never truly sold off to America. So it being in Alaska is actually another bit of a sort of coup for Putin on those lines, who seems to potentially believes that Alaska is part of Russia still.
Right.
So yeah, it looks like he's brought Trump to himself almost. Anyway,
Right,
Chris,
okay.
speaking as our rest of the world correspondent,
All right.
that's you now.
Is it?
That's
Don't
your
point at me.
that's
you
your job.
Stubby little
Oh,
fingers.
they're not stubby actually. They're
pretty
quite
long. Yeah.
They are. I've got pianist fingers actually.
Yeah, you can't play the piano though,
A
can you?
little bit.
No, you can't.
I can.
No, you
play Black Parade. Do, 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 do. Anyway, I won't keep going. Was anyone impressed by Trump other than Putin?
Performatively, perhaps.
Really?
So Emmanuel Macron, French president.
That's sweet.
He told NBC News that it was good news for all that Trump was so optimistic about his chances to broker peace. But this wasn't. It was in response. It was an interview that he gave after that hot mic moment. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, where Trump's kind of like, man, Putin just wants to make a deal with me.
He wants to make a deal for me. That's what he said. He said that, which was so, egotistical. Can we expect anything different from Trump? No. But that's what Macron said. He also said, I speak a bit of French.
Yeah.
He also said in that hot mic moment, it's something like, thanks for working so hard for us. It's quite, everyone's just been like treating him like a big 10-year-old.
Yeah, I do think there is maybe just to that, it does feel like they've everyone is just trying to flatter Trump, because it seems to be the only way to shift him in any direction.
That's why Zelensky turned up in a half suit.
Yeah, his suit looked fucking great.
It's all black. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty rock and roll.
He looked really good.
Who was the Fox journalist who called him out on it last time?
It's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
Yeah,
right?
what's his name?
Brian Glenn.
That's it, Brian Glenn. He called him out on his suit last time, and there was an exchange this time.
Very good exchange.
Where Brian Glenn said, "Great suit." That's my American accent. It's good, wasn't it?
Really good, yeah.
And Zelensky said something like, "Oh, yeah, I've got a nice suit. You've got the same suit on."
Yeah.
And it was a nice little clap back.
Well, yeah, he's like, I changed, you didn't. Sort of thing. So,
idiot.
Yeah. It was good.
Another person, go back to the impressed question, Starmer. He released a statement. He said there was real movement forward and was reportedly very pleased with the outcomes of the summit with Putin and the meeting with Zelensky. But that's really about it. I didn't really see too much from Maloney. But largely, and including from inside the US, has been criticism as to how Putin was treated and just how the meeting went, really. No one really expected anything to come from it, and they were all correct. Nothing really has, I guess, apart from dialogue being open between Trump and Putin, but we don't really know what any of that dialogue is. We're not invited behind closed doors to those meetings. We only hear what we're told.
I'd love to be in that WhatsApp group. Maybe they'll add me. It might happen.
Maybe it'll leak. Maybe they'll add you to it.
Yeah, that'd be good. Exactly.
Like they did.
Yeah. Everyone knows the reference. Don't worry. We don't have to tell them.
Yeah,
all
I know
the
a bit about US
Let's
politics,
not explain
actually.
it. Anyway, polling feelings, Chris, I've got written down here. So what are the polling feelings?
There's
a few. Feelings in the polling.
There's a few feelings to do with polling here. Shut up.
Polling feelings.
And the piece of polling here, the piece of polling.
Shut up, you piece of polling.
That's right. That has grasped. Christ, you're on one today. The one that's grabbed the headlines is from its Insider Advantage.
Whoa.
Which I checked this because I hadn't come across these guys before. I checked this on Media Bias Fact Check.
Okay.
And it actually apparently
you're saying a lot of websites that sound like utter shit.
No, this is real.
I found this on realgoodamericanpoliticsnews.net.
No, this is real.
Okay.
And it says it has a high factual rating and is not biased towards one side of politics. Apparently.
Okay.
Apparently.
I'm saying apparently now. And that's because I'm about to read you what the polling says. So they asked 3,000 American voters this question. What is your opinion of President Trump's job performance? And this was after the meeting with Putin. 54% approve and 44% disapprove. But then you look elsewhere, for example, as I did last week, Real Clear Politics, trust those guys, they round all these polls together and find an average.
RCP.
Yeah, good. It's still at 45% approval rating for Trump and 50% disapprove, which is still a massive fall, really, from where he was when he started his term. Even Fox has him at 46% approval rating. So I take this insider advantage polling, not with a pinch, but with a massive block of salt.
Really? Okay. Well, like the sort of salt that you'd have to throw behind your shoulder to blind the devil. Did you ever do that?
Blind the devil.
Yeah, if you spilt salt, you have to throw salt behind your shoulder to blind the devil. That's yeah.
You're talking so.
That's why you do it?
What are you on about?
That's what
I
my
just thought
grandma
it was
told
for
me.
like luck.
No, well, yeah, no, it's big. It is superstition. It's to blind the devil, because the devil wants you to spill salt, Chris. This is the second time I'm pointing
I
at you today.
love salt.
Yeah, I'll put a little bit on my
Salt.
finger and eat it sometimes.
Salt's good.
Listeners, let us know what you think about salt, and if you've ever heard of the suggestion that you're blinding the devil when you throw it behind your shoulder when you
I have
spill it.
never heard that. in
No
my
one
life.
has. It's just Jarv.
My grandma said it, and she is right.
If Grandma Jarv said it, then it must be real.
Yeah, exactly. Now to round up some other news stories that you might have missed. There's some weird ones in here, but Epstein news, it's back, baby. It never went away. Nikki, what's happening in Congress to do with the Epstein files now?
Yeah, so Congress is scheduled to come back from the August recess pretty soon. And the Department of Justice is supposed to start turning over some files related to the Epstein case to Republicans. What that's going to look like, we're not super sure yet. But as we talked about in past episodes, it seems pretty clear that Republicans hit the hard exit button ahead of time and started the recess early because they were trying to avoid having votes on the release of the files. We're really trying to get that story to die down. It hasn't gone away. Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, who's a Republican, are planning to hold a joint press conference on September 2nd, I believe, with some of Epstein's accusers and survivors of abuse by Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So I think what we're seeing is sort of the gear up to have this story once again re-enter the headlines, whether it be Republicans trying to manage these files that they're getting from the DOJ, or Democrats and even some Republicans highlighting the statements and desires and existence of survivors who are kind of being railroaded by the Justice Department throughout this entire process.
Do you think we're likely going to learn anything new from the files, or is that kind of a bit by the by at the moment, that, as you say, we kind of know enough to know that something serious needs to happen here at this point, right?
I think part of the problem is you can't get a lot of things unredacted without court approval. So I'm kind of curious what documents are going to be sent over to Congress. Will it be, descriptions of what was found on the video, documents that were available? Is it going to be like the last couple times that the White House and the administration said they were giving out documents and it's just a repeat of things we already know? So stay tuned. Congress will be back next week for more shenanigans.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's back, baby.
Congress is back.
It's back, baby. Right, on to some other stuff. The Smithsonian Museum. Trump is kind of waging war on history at the moment. Nikki, what's he trying to do when it comes to his pushback on the nation's history? And are institutions just going to roll over, do you think?
I mean, the Smithsonian is in a bit of a tough spot because it is federally funded, tied to the national government, can be influenced by the administration. And it's kind of the reason Trump it's sort of a similar situation to what's happening at the Kennedy Center, where the Trump administration is very openly trying to inject, MAGA partisans into the running of this cultural institution, because part of their political project is the mandatory enforcement of cultural conservatism. But when was this? The 19th. So that would have been Tuesday. Trump writes on Truth Social. I'm going to read it, part of it.
Quote, it in the voice.
I'm not going to do it in the voice.
Come on.
The museums throughout Washington, but all over the country, are essentially the last remaining segment of, quote, woke. The Smithsonian is out of control, all caps. where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden has been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. We are not going to allow this to happen.
Why would
then he goes on to
museums
say
be about the future?
No,
That's not
I'm
the
sorry.
point.
What do you mean? He has a problem with the fact that museums discuss that slavery is bad?
Yeah.
Also, like, history is about the past, right?
Yeah.
What is a museum of the future?
I don't know,
But
put that
literally
down as
the
an
Air
idea.
and Space Museum, like, if you ever want to feel optimistic about the future, go to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. It's fucking sick. It's all about how exploring the frontiers are cool. It's a lot. But he basically goes on to say that he's instructed his attorneys to go through the museums and start the exact same process that has been done with colleges and universities where tremendous progress has been made. Basically, they're going to start threatening funding to museums and institutions if they don't comply with sort of the anti-woke, anti-DEI policies of this administration. And I think what was really clear in his call out to slavery and how he thinks museums shouldn't talk about how bad it was, I think that can be interpreted as a pretty direct attack against the Smithsonian, the African American History Smithsonian, which opened up a couple of years ago when I was living in DC. It is a museum dedicated entirely to the recounting of Black history in the United States, and it's federally funded. And if there is a single target within the sort of Smithsonian universe that this administration is going to go after, it is going to be the African American History Museum. And it's horrifying because nothing like that really existed in the Smithsonian before the creation of this museum. It has so many just like priceless artifacts, decades of work and collaboration with historical experts and like people who took the time to curate this incredibly powerful collections of artifacts and narratives that really tell an incredibly raw and oftentimes really difficult to deal with story of American history. The parts of American history that people like Donald Trump want to pretend never happened, want to pretend have no effect on modern society, don't want to talk about. So I think museums like the African American History Museum, the Native American History Museums, those are going to be incredibly vulnerable to attacks from this administration because we've already seen how they've attacked those populations just in the last 6 months of operations.
Yeah, it's grim to see. What I find so strange from Trump is like how he acts as if there's no one and nothing that's bigging America up. And I would just say, you need to watch more movies, man. Like every single year, there's a new war movie about why America's sick. Like that seems to be what all Hollywood does, is just say, oh, actually, you know all those wars we did? They were cool, by the way. So, that's not museum's job. But that's what he's got Hollywood for. So
That's what you got Hollywood
he
for.
should, but apparently Hollywood's woke as well. So I don't fucking know anymore. Chris, we've looked at the polling for Trump, and the polling has been bad. But the polling is good for someone who'll be the topic of our Monday episode, Gavin Newsom, isn't it? Listen to Gavin.
Yeah. Hey,
Thank
Gav.
you for listening, Gav.
Yeah, things are looking up for Gavin Newpod.
Yeah, nice.
Looked at some polling from Politico, Citron Centre, and Possibility Lab that joined forces on this. So
Whoa.
well done to them.
Bosh.
Yeah, tell you right. Polling bosh. They asked
Stats bosh.
They asked, all right. They asked Democratic-leaning independents in Cali, which is California, for everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, nice.
What they thought of Newsom. They asked, if the 2028 Democratic presidential primary were held tomorrow, and these were the candidates, who would you vote for? Amongst Californian voters, guess the top three. And in order. You got to get it in order.
Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg.
You've just looked at my notes. And
No, I
basically, haven't
haven't
you?
looked at your notes.
Yeah, you've got it right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got it right because I've got my finger on the fucking pulse, Chris. I know my shit.
All right. Yeah, you know best.
Yeah, nice.
In third, Pete Buttigieg, 13%. Second, Kamala Harris, 19%. First, Gavin Newsom, 25%. This data is from July 28th and August 12th, 2025. About 1,500 people. All the pollsters seem to be hanging on these three really when it comes to the next I guess, leader of the Democratic Party. Gavin Newsom, though, is mostly second in those polls, and Kamala Harris is still the favorite, I guess.
Good. Nikki, do you think we're going to see Newsom 28 then?
I think so. I think he really wants it. Like, he's thirsting for it, and you can tell. That man wants to be president.
People are thirsting for him, aren't they?
He's a thirsty fucking
he's
guy.
a
Christopher?
hot piece of ass.
Stop that. Absolutely not.
He's a good-looking chap. What can I say?
No.
Chris, winding it back then to when you said that you thought J.D. Vance was a good kisser. Who do you think would be a better kisser, J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Oh, I think Gavin Newsom would be tender with it, but he wouldn't call you back. He wouldn't call you back
Wait, you
afterwards.
think Gavin Newsom's a fuckboy?
Oh
Or do
yeah,
you
yeah,
think
he
J.D.
always
Vance
has been.
would be a bit more loyal?
Gavin Newsom would be tender with it.
Yeah, he'd be nice and tender with it. He'd really kiss you. You know what I mean?
No,
A little bit of tongue.
No, I don't know.
I think he would ask first. He would ask, "Is this okay?" And I'm not sure what to say.
Okay.
But I tell you what, I'd blush.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm blushing
He's
now.
a good-looking guy, man.
I can't.
Tell
deal
me
with
he's
you
not.
two.
Yeah, he's
Simon, producer Simon. He's a good-looking guy, isn't he?
We'll allow it, Chris. Yeah, we will.
What do you mean we'll allow it?
I mean,
Tender
he's
with it.
not my type.
Yeah, man. He's a bit too.
So
crisp
you're
for
telling me if Gavin Newpod came to your office? Oh, this got weird.
That'd be so
No,
creepy.
that would be wrong.
Gavin Newsom comes to the office and goes,
let's say-
"Kiss me, Nikki."
Let's
No, the answer's
say
no.
you saw Gavin Newsom at a bar. You didn't know it was Gavin Newsom.
Why? Is he in disguise?
No, you've forgotten who he is.
Okay.
It's
right.
an alternate
Okay,
reality where he's
right.
not who he is, but he does look the same.
Yeah.
Let me pull up a photo. He just looks evil.
Yeah.
Good looking evil though.
Yeah, but
He looks like what a scheming president would look like in like an American TV show, you know?
he looks like he could become the Green Goblin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's
He
the
does
vibe.
it.
Yeah, fair.
And just I don't know. It wouldn't feel special. Kissing Gavin Newsom wouldn't feel special.
No.
What?
No, I agree with Nikki here. Okay, well, we know what makes Chris tick. Listeners, let us know what makes you tick in the comments.
Cool.
Anyway, finally,
I think they'll agree with me.
can we talk about crisps or chips? You're wrong if you call them chips.
Absolutely,
so.
yeah.
Chris, talk me through this crispy story that I really like. It's pretty crispy and crunchy.
It is crispy, crunchy, and
Snackalicious.
snackalicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
It is quite funny, but it's also not.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Nice.
it's just not.
Are you going to do a Frank Lampard answer
I'm
on
not
this?
gonna.
Nice.
I'm not gonna name names in this. Really, probably for legal reasons.
They've admitted it.
They haven't though. Really,
They have.
there's
They've admitted giving
an
the money
attorney
over.
involved, Jarv.
Okay.
But you can go and find the story. It's on the. It was.
We're not
so
going
I'll
to
just
get
tell you the
sued
story.
by them, and they said it happened.
I don't care. I'm not saying names, and also I feel a bit sorry because she's what. I'll just tell you the story.
Okay, all right.
So allegedly, a former advisor to Eric Adams, mayor of New York, passed an open sour cream and chive crisp packet to a reporter
In Whole Foods.
from an what?
They were in Whole Foods, weren't they? For some
Were they?
reason? Yeah.
Oh, I
think
didn't.
so,
I
yeah.
missed that bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's particularly relevant that they're in Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Anyway,
color.
so this reporter was from an outlet called The City, which is a New York City kind of local
Yeah, news outlet.
news outlet.
Yeah, news.
Inside that empty crisp packet was an envelope. And inside that envelope was a wad of cash. Who'd have thought it? Reportedly.
$100 bill and a few 20s, wasn't it?
But I say reportedly, not really, because there's actual pictures of it, and it's ludicrous. So the reporter found this. The reporter said, I can't take this. Actually rang her back and said...
Yeah, so I believe at first she thought she was being offered crisps and was like,
Well, yeah,
no, I don't want them.
was sour cream and chive.
And then
You'd
they
say
were like,
no.
no, take the crisps.
Yeah.
Then the cash.
So yeah, called the accused and said, and the accused replied apparently and said, "I'm so sorry, it's a culture thing." I just wanted to be her friend was another response that she gave to the city. The person in question here is part of the Chinese American community.
Diaspora.
And her attorney, in response to this, has argued, and I quote, "In the Chinese culture, money is often given to others in a gesture of friendship and gratitude, and that's all that was done here. Redacted intention was born purely out of kindness." I'd get it if it was if it was like a Chinese New Year celebration. It wasn't.
No.
It was a campaigning, like fundraising event for Mayor Eric Adams. You will notice that I said former advisor earlier. I'm pretty sure I did. If I didn't, I'm saying it now.
Because this one was under investigation.
Oh, she was
for
in
bad stuff.
big time trouble. Her
Yeah.
house had been raided by the FBI in 2024.
Why are we not naming?
I just don't feel like it.
Winnie Greco?
Fuck.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Her.
Allegedly, Winnie Greco has been.
Allegedly.
No,
allegedly
it's been
accused.
reported out. Winnie Greco is part.
But I'm alleging it. So yeah, she
There's
was
a
a
news
former
story.
advisor. She was volunteering.
The journalist who got given the packet of crisps with the cash in has written the story about it, and she's replied to them directly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So yeah, she had actually left Eric Adams' administration because her home had been raided. There was like investigations. She did
she's been
come back.
lingering back.
She did come back, and then there was like she got a massive salary of like 200 grand, and then she went again. And now she's been volunteering, but in response to this story,
Banned from volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that story. It's pretty crazy.
New York politics is so fucking whack. Like,
Nikki, just on that then, so Eric Adams, final question on this bit, and then we'll get into listener cues. How is Eric Adams still doing anything political? Like, how is this just rolling on? Like, he's just not really getting, it doesn't feel like repercussions are happening for Eric Adams.
no, because he got a sweetheart deal from the Trump administration. Like, allegedly, the Trump administration basically gave, like, from what we understand, there hasn't been official paperwork, but it suggests that the Trump administration may have offered Adams leniency and declined to prosecute the corruption charges against him in exchange for cooperation with some of their like immigration enforcement stuff in the city of New York. Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's sort of what's been hinted at. But yeah, I mean, of course, when Adams was indicted, he kind of immediately ran toward the MAGA universe and started lobbying for like a potential pardon or for leniency. So, we'll see. People don't like him in this city.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
All this city.
Not
Right,
fun.
Jov? Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
God.
No.
Down with Adams.
Zing. Listener question time. Matt GS asks us, as I understand it, gerrymandering in
Gerrymandering?
Gerrymandering in Texas will redraw boundaries to take Republican voters from safe seats and put them in ones with a slim Democratic majority to flip them. In the commentary, they said a safe seat might be 60/40 Republican and changing the boundary might make it 55/45, which would still be an acceptable difference. However, if Trump's popularity is now so bad and they take Republican voters away from safe seats, could those seats flip to Democrat? Nikki.
I mean, yeah, that was one of the possibilities that Democrats and even Republicans in Texas warned about in this redistricting, was that if you redistribute your safe Republican areas too much, if you make the voting block too thin, you do run the risk that the number of independents in those districts might flip it to the opposite party. And so they are slamming through this redrawn congressional map. It actually got approved by the Texas House yesterday. It's gonna happen. But if Trump cannot pull up his numbers, they also just potentially made several incumbent Republicans really vulnerable to challenges. from both the left and right. And I have an interview at rollingstone.com with Texas Congressman Greg Casar about this. But yeah, no, it's a coin toss. And it definitely still favors Republicans because just the way the map is drawn. But they may not gain all 5 of those seats. And at this point, if the map is happening, you got to push to flip as many of those districts as possible.
And guys, before you go to that website that Nikki just mentioned, go to patreon.com/American Friction first, but then you can go. Okay, everyone, okay. Chris, it's that time of the week for you. So, silly question, my boy.
Oh, I ain't thought too hard about this one.
No.
I'll be honest with you. On the bribing kind of story,
Okay, bribing.
back on that. If someone was trying to bribe you, what would do it? What would tip it over the edge?
What are they trying to bribe me to do, Chris, is the question.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Kiss Gavin Newsom.
Don't have to bribe me.
Yeah, a lot of cash.
A lot of cash. So
Lot
you'll
of
just
cash.
go straight up cash.
I think cash would be the way in to me. Like, I think sort of like several £1,000s plus would be making me think, but then what else? It just depends what sort of who I'm being bribed by and what I'm being bribed for. Like, I don't know. If I'm being bribed by the city, then maybe, I don't know, they can give me my own swimming pool.
You're being okay. Fucking hell.
They can give me a
You're
gym.
being bribed not to talk about Trump ever again.
Okay. Well, then that would be pretty terminal to my job. So quite a lot of cash.
Just cash.
Yeah,
Okay,
just like
yeah.
enough money to not work for
Okay,
a good long while.
Okay, now you're being bribed not to
2
talk
mil.
about Tucker Carlson ever again.
10K.
10,000.
10,000 for that. For the Trump one, that affects work. So 2 mil. I think I wouldn't have to work again if I got 2 mil. I think I can make that work. That's that's just what I think. But on things they could give me, I would like my own gym.
How you want your own gym?
Yeah.
And how would you like the keys to be passed to you?
Like a baby bird from mouth to mouth by Gavin Newsom.
Christ. I meant like container. Like what container is it in?
Gavin Newsom's mouth.
Gavin Newsom's mouth. Christ.
You asked.
Nikki, how could you be bribed?
But what are you bribing her for?
In this case, we're bribing Nikki to move out of New York. She can't live in New York anymore.
Okay.
Really, anything. If I was to be bribed to do anything, things that would probably work.
I know the answer.
Large, expensive jewels, solid gold because it holds its value better than straight cash.
Nice.
Rare pieces of art, like
Okay.
valuable art, and rare artifacts I could, sell to a museum and launder for cash.
And Labubu's.
Boo-boos.
Extremely rare Labubus.
I thought you were going to say cheese.
Cheese.
Also cheese and good tequila.
She likes cheese.
Yeah, cheese is
I
good.
do
It goes
love
moldy.
cheese.
Chris, what would you be bribed for? I don't know what I'm bribing you for.
What are you bribing me for?
Never to eat chips again. And to have to openly say chips are bad.
Chips are bad.
You have to say.
Well, I could do that though, because in my mind I could be picturing bad chips because they do exist.
Okay.
Yorkie bar.
Just a Yorkie bar.
Yeah.
Come on, you got bigger asks than that.
Packet of Skips.
I'm getting a swimming pool or a gym or £2 million.
That's how
And
much
you're
I
just getting
value
Skips.
Yorkie bars.
So how much to kiss Gavin Newsom then?
He would do that for free. We already established
for free.
this.
Minus £10.
He
Minus
would
10
pay to kiss Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Gavin, if you're listening.
Simon, how could someone bribe you to edit this podcast badly?
Oh, well, I take pride in my job, so it take a lot. I think I want like a full pirate's treasure. The sort of thing where you have to...
Nice. Jewels
like-
and gold.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
nice.
talking about.
It's
You have to
pirate
swim
booty.
into like a secret cave.
Like
And then you
Goonies.
come out and it's just,
Yeah.
all this gold
I
glinting.
love it.
So you want someone to curate an adventure for you?
Yeah.
So Simon, you can bribe Simon by making him be in Goonies.
Yeah.
That's how you bribe.
That's
Oh,
what I
Peter
want.
Pan.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
To be in the Goonies is such a niche way to be bribed.
I like that.
Listeners, tell us how you could be bribed.
Yeah.
And maybe you could bribe us to keep making more podcasts by going to patreon.com/American Friction. And that
That's
brings
right.
us to the end of the show. American Friction. We're at the end, my friends. It's sad. Just pause a moment, 'cause I don't want it to end.
I do.
Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks, boys.
Chris, thank you, my man.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Simon, thank you.
Thank you.
And Gavin Newsom, mwah. Remember, listeners, if you enjoy what we do, go to patreon.com/American Friction. You can get the show without adverts. That's pretty good. You can get bonus content. That's really good. You can get merchandise. That's sick. There's loads of good stuff. We want to keep the show going, but we need your help. So yeah, there's a link in the show notes or patreon.com/American Friction. And a quick reminder, if you can't back us financially, we do be getting that. It's bad out there. But go, rate, review, subscribe, wherever you're listening to the podcast. And as I told you last week, tell people to listen to the podcast. Any opportunity you get, like one of your friends is speaking to you and is like, oh, I had a really bad day today. Just go, listen to American Friction, man. I don't really want to hear it. You get called up by a family member and they're like, oh, something's really bad has gone on with grandma. Just listen to American Friction.
Gavin Newsom approaches you at your workplace. Tell him to listen to American Friction.
Well, he already does. So that wouldn't help us so
Tell him
much.
to tell other people to
Yeah,
listen
exactly.
to American
Gavin
Friction.
Newsom, tell people to listen to American Friction. All I'm saying is rate, review, subscribe, and spread the word. We're a cult now. I've decided it.
We are a
Join,
cult.
Oh my God.
are a
join
cult.
my cult.
Our cult.
Our cult. It's mine. Anyway, you've been listening to American Friction. Make sure you keep on listening forever, my fellow cult members.
Endeavor.
My frictioners.
Frictioners.
Goodbye. Yeah, frictioners. That's what they're
Nice.
called.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Peace out,
everyone.
dudes.
See ya. Thanks for coming.
Mwah, Gavin.